Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Mary Bird's Backyard Garden. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mary.
And we're back, Mary.
We're
back, baby.
Back on track.
We are back.
Semi back on track.
How come semi?
Semi.
Okay. You tricked me there.
Well, this week's podcast is going to be a little different from our usual.
Okay.
It's going to be more of a dialogue.
Oh,
perhaps.
Man. I have to talk.
More of a chit-chat.
Oh, boy. I got to talk. Okay.
A good old natter.
All right. We can do that. We have had a very eventful week or so. So,
wow.
For all you out there, especially those of you that are in Texas and know that it got up to well over 100, of course, our AC did have to go out.
Yes.
As usual. That's kind of how it works in Texas.
Actually, it was quite the surprise. We didn't even know it was going out.
We didn't know it was going out, but we do. And I'll tell you what I would recommend is we do have a service where they come twice a year and do maintenance, and they kind of caught it. So it didn't go out, but we did notice it wasn't quite as cool as we like to have it in the house. And they checked it, and we did have an issue. So,
and sadly, it was a pretty big issue.
Holy smokes! You know, we were talking when we had kids, when our kids were little. We still have kids.
We do still have kids.
But
we love them.
when they were little, gosh, back probably late 80s or so.
We were scrambling.
We were definitely scrambling. We had an air conditioner go out, and I think it was, I don't know. I think it was like that point, it was maybe $1,000 or something to replace it, which could have been $1 million at that point to us. But without getting details, I can tell you the price of ACs have gone up.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I do remember that our problem was the fire ants got into that air conditioner long ago. When fire ants were a pretty new problem, actually, coming into Texas. And we didn't know, we had no idea, but they congregated in there and they ruined the air conditioner.
They did ruin it. And it wasn't, it was a little starter home at the point. So it was a little air conditioner, but
that poor thing worked all the time.
It did work all the time. It wasn't the most energy efficient home, obviously. But man, the price of AC, if you guys have replaced them, but holy smokes.
Yeah, that was a major surprise.
Quite a shock when I learned what the price was. So anyhow, we've been kind of playing with that and doing that so we can get that taken care of and make sure that we stay cool this summer because it's really, really warm here.
This morning it was like 92, right?
The humidity is like 91 today.
Was 92%.
Just crazy. And of course, we got to make sure we keep those plants nice and watered. They wilt unbelievably fast in the summer and when it starts getting warm.
Especially if you have new plantings, you want to baby them along their first year.
Yeah, of course you do.
Well, we did put in the. Did we talk about it last week? We put in the new Althea. In the front, or it's also hardy hibiscus. Yeah, it has been a little stressed. I go out there and check on him every single day. I don't want to overwater, but I'm very particular to make sure he's got enough water.
Well, the stuff I put in, like I put the tomatoes in, and we put some pepper plants. But not funny, but it's been really windy. So with the heat and wind, so those little guys that are trying to establish getting a foothold, the wind's kind of knocking them back a little bit.
Well, I actually went out there and I put in a support system for your tomato. I put one of our Oyas close to it. And so we're going to try to keep up that good moisture level.
Yeah. You got to do that. Well, we're kind of already into it, Mary. We're just kind of just saying, what's new in the garden. So I think we're having that conversation. But officially, like what's new, Mary, in the garden, and I can start out by saying, you worked me hard.
We have been laborers. We have taken out, I don't even know how many bags you put out on the curb this morning, but we've taken out close to 10 roses, I believe, so far. And well-established plants, the root systems are very, very extensive.
They were.
They were. And the funny part is, we talk about this a lot because we live on the Edwards Plateau, which is a limestone outcropping. We don't really have a lot of plants that have deep roots. A lot of times the roots go down maybe a foot or two and then start spreading out across the surface. And that's kind of tricky to try to trace those roots. Mm-hmm. And they hold on good, though. They do.
They were, I'm not going to lie, those roses were hard. I mean, we split duty on that. They were tough. They're really tough. I wasn't expecting that. They were tough, and I know we still have a few more to get out. But, the other thing is, so you get them out, and they were established. They were pretty big. And so then...
Yeah, the stems and the trunks on them are good.
Are big.
Some of them about 2 inches.
They were nice and thick. Yeah. But then you got to cut them down to get them in a bag.
I know.
I mean, goodness gracious. It's like
that was something else.
But I will say, I had gotten Mary these rose-proof gloves. And man, they go like all the way up your arm.
Yes.
And man, I can vouch for those things. Mm-hmm. I think outside of one like really big base that had a huge little thing on it there. Thorn. Everything else I could just grab just like normal without even worrying about it. So those things were amazing.
Yes, they didn't let anything through. Mm-hmm. And they aren't that like hot. They're not hot to wear.
No, they're not bad at all.
They're comfortable.
They're not bad at all. But without that, I think it would have taken us a lot longer because to get down there and kind of chop those guys up, you got to grab them. Gosh, you have to grab them.
I was stomping on them with my feet.
There's no other way around it. So we got a lot of those out. We did a yeoman's effort on that, I would say, Mary.
And our reason was the rosette disease.
Yes, we had the disease.
The way it is,
Yeah, well, now you get to replan and put some new cool stuff in there. I'm going to lobby for succulents.
I'm excited about that.
I'm lobbying for succulents.
All right. I agree with you.
Some succulents.
There's actually, what happened? The garden has taken on a new, interesting shape and form. Without the large roses in there, it's definitely possibilities are springing up. And there are plants that have been hidden, like the color guard yucca has been pretty much hidden. We know we want to go in there and thoroughly get rid of a lot of the Bermuda that went in there that was too hard to get under the roses and get to. And so I think it's opened up some good possibilities.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I like that idea of looking for succulents and interesting shapes and forms.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. I've enjoyed the roses, but
I do think it'll be cool.
We'll move on to the next thing now.
Yes.
And they had to come out for a reason, so we didn't just pull them. So
no, and it'll be interesting to have sections. Like some gardeners talk about building garden rooms in your garden, and so we might not have rooms. Maybe we could call it displays. As we walk along, we could progress to a different display, which I think will be pretty exciting.
Okay. I know you're excited to get the replan. Get your planning book out and do some replanning.
This is going to be great.
Cool.
We did open up a back corner in our garden, which I'm excited to use to start seeds and do some propagating where I could start some more plants. Yeah. Have the little section, easy access, get in and out, and be able to do a little work in there. Right now, we have a fence surrounding most of our garden border beds because we don't want the dogs, Yeah. Well, it started because we used to put down a really tasty fertilizer. I didn't want the dogs to get in there and eat it. And it's the MicroLife fertilizer. They just love it. And so that's why the fence originally went up. And I've relied on that. MicroLife is really good. So we're keeping the
Yeah, the
We're
fence.
keeping the barrier.
We are. So we do have a fence. We have a stone border that we put down that we talked about, I think, in one of the other podcasts, how much stone
I know,
did.
4,000 pounds.
Yeah. And then we put a kind of a wire, some fencing that it is fencing, but it's wire around all the garden as well to keep the dogs out.
And that provides a safe place for the birds to come and enjoy their bird food.
It is. I think
we get to watch the birds.
It is good. And then we opened up that corner for you so you can get in one area there. Yes. And of course we have little gates we built. But yeah, I think it's good.
I do too. I'm quite excited about it.
Yeah, we did a lot of work this last week. To be honest with you,
work.
It kind of wore me out there, but we're good.
Yeah. Jeffy, we have had a really cool visitor come into the garden. You had a close encounter with this enjoyable visitor, and our daughter happened to spy him in the garden.
Yeah.
Who is that?
That was our friend, the Roadrunner.
Our friend.
So I was sitting on our deck after we were working. You were out, I was just taking a break.
I was still knee deep in the weeds.
And I was taking a drink break there, and I was on the deck, and I looked to my left, and I said, holy smokes, that Roadrunner was like 5 feet from me.
Wow.
And he had the hugest lizard hanging out of his mouth. And I looked at it, and I was kind of shocked. I was like, oh my gosh. And he just stood there a minute until the dog saw him. The dog saw him, and then they started coming up, and he flew over, kind of did his little jump and fly over them and then took off. But he was right there. And then our daughter she was out running, I think, this morning. And she saw him in a neighbor's yard with a big old lizard.
With a big lizard.
So it's pretty cool. He's our buddy now.
He is.
He's our mascot.
Wow. And they keep surprising me because they're quite large.
They are. They're really cool. They're really cool looking. I mean, I got a really close-up view of him. He was like right there. I mean, Beautiful. He was right next to me and wasn't scared or anything of me.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool. And I don't know why he was on the porch, to be honest with you, but hey, whatever. It was fun.
We've had more birds come up onto our porch this year, surprisingly.
Yeah, we have.
For whatever reason. We don't have bird feeders close to it or anything. I don't know, but yeah.
It's been, it was cool. It's been a fun week.
Yay for the Roadrunner. Yeah. I know.
What else you got?
It has been a fun week, actually.
It has.
Well, we have been having a problem with one of our crepe myrtles in the front yard. And I did a lot of research on it, and I discovered that there's an insect. It's a scale insect. And what it does is it actually looks like scales, on the plant. It's a soft-bodied insect, and it will secrete the honeydew substance. And when that happens, a black sooty mold or a black sooty fungus forms on your plant. And I did notice that our crepe myrtle trunk was darkening. And this happened at the end of last year and then through the winter of this year. So I was reading about things that you could do. Spray with a really hard water was one thing that I tried. I used horticultural oil spray. I think I talked about that on a podcast. I used a soapy water type of treatment. But I noticed even after trying all the treatments, I was still having these scale insects on this one particular crepe myrtle. It's quite large. I cannot reach high into the canopy at all. And what happens is wherever there's a fork in the branches, the scale insects like to form their first colony there and then travel up the branches. And the black sooty mold will eventually, it could cause the tree to die. And so we've already had difficulties this year with losing plants, so I didn't want to do that anymore. And one of my favorite authors and gardeners and horticulturalists is Neil Sperry.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has a book out called Lone Star Gardening. This book came out in 2014. Anyways, I did read that May is the time you want to put down a product in the soil around an affected tree, and it's a systemic insecticide. And I just feel like that's the only thing I could do to help protect this crepe myrtle, this particular one. I've investigated our other crepe myrtles and I haven't noticed the problem, but this specific tree was damaged when we had that unbelievably cold winter weather, and we had to do a chopping situation on this tree, and maybe it weakened it. I don't know why this particular tree has developed this problem overall, because it's gorgeous. The leaves are healthy. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it does look good, yeah.
But I can't reach all the way into the canopy because it's probably a good 15 feet tall at this point. So he recommends in his book a systemic insecticide, imidacloprid, and it's readily available.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely want to follow the instructions. You want to be spot on. I don't really like to go for insecticides unless, I'm in a situation such as this. And so we did. I applied it exactly the way he describes in his book, and I also read the container. It wasn't very expensive. I think you could find it at most big box stores if you're facing this. And I do intend to go out there and beef up the biology around that tree. Because I will say that since we've been doing our program where we really focus on creating health in the soil, things have popped. They've really been growing
it's really
nicely.
Been really good this year.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it has. It's gotten really nice.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So anyways, I wanted to let people know, if you're planning to look into this product, this is the exact time you want to apply it.
Okay.
So, that's what
we do a nice drenching, as we call it, Mary.
We did a soil drench. That's
soil drench.
Right, a soil drench. And I was very careful. I really followed the instructions. It says, do not get it on your lawn.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very careful about that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Anyways, we're going to
give that a shot and see how it works.
See what happens. Mm-hmm.
I know. It's a good resource. I think you've liked Neil Sperry stuff for a long time, years and years and years.
Yes.
I think that was the first book you may have gotten was a Neil Sperry.
It was.
See that? I remember that, Mary.
Oh my, I can't believe you remember, because that was observant. Way back in the 80s.
It was in the 80s, and we were busy with a lot of kids. So yeah, I do remember.
But all right. So that is in his actions that you should take for May.
Very good. Very good. What else you got?
I was wondering what you have.
Well, I got a little thing, and
boy.
I got to play my music. Hey, everybody! Welcome to Jeff's Corner. I'm just going to do a quickie. So, we're getting to the point where we got to, we go through this every year. You got to think about your watering. And the one thing you want to do, I know here in Texas, because it's definitely going to get warmer and hotter, and the rain chances are going to be less and less. But really, if you just water deeply for a longer period of time and get it deep, you really only need to water once or twice a week. So I know we get a lot of water restrictions here where it's once a week and whatever, and that's not really an issue if you do it the right way. So think about that. You make sure that you're watering long enough. So if it's just once a week, get it down, water long enough that it's going down deep into the ground. And I think that'll help you. Of course, you want to use your mulches, which Mary loves. Make sure that'll also help with water retention. And then, you want to check your soil. You don't want to just say, hey, it's been, 3 days or whatever. Just, put your finger in the soil and make sure that if it's dry, then it's time to water. Especially on a lot of the, not so much the garden, the lawn, but ours hits our garden as well. So, which is nice. And then, you really, just to remember, anything that's in a plant, in a, container is obviously going to lose water quicker. And I know, Mary, you go out there all the time and you're very good about checking them. I'm not very good, but you're out there every day checking all the stuff and hand water. And if we need to hand water, supplement it. And especially the things we have on the porch, because obviously that's not getting hit by our irrigation system. So that's it. Really just kind of think smart watering. The other thing is, I've talked to you guys about the Ego lawnmower and all the stuff that we have, and I love my Ego lawnmower. I've had it for almost 7 years, still running. However, they do have a new model out there that has 2 blades on the bottom.
Oh, my.
That's kind of, in 7 years is a long time in technology, obviously. But I'm really thinking about taking a look at that. I'm curious I saw the blade, ours has a single blade and it does well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but might be time to look at something else.
It's a new gadget.
A new toy. I know, but I'm intrigued by the double blades and see how that works. I think that would be pretty cool. And like I said, I've talked to you guys before. I love the Ego products. We have all of our lawn tools, are not electric and not gas. But I think I'm going to take a look at that. They have the one thing they do have the self-propelled ones and kind of thing, which, may help. I mean,
is ours self-propelled?
Ours is just manual push. But I mean, it's not, we don't have,
we don't have an extensive area.
We don't have a huge area. But they have upgraded their mowers in the 7 years since we've had ours. And so I'm going to take a look at that.
Now, I will say, when Jeff began to bring home the products from the Ego line, I was in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, do we really need the blower? Do we really need the hedge trimmer? Do we really need? But I have used the blower, the hedge trimmer, I don't really use like the string trimmer or the edger as much as you do, but the other 2 products, I use them every week.
We do use them, and I
use them.
we have the string weeder, but I did get the edger itself too, which makes it a lot easier just to kind of edge stuff.
Absolutely.
But it's all, I mean, you just put a battery in it.
I know, that's the nicest part
so
about
nice.
it.
And as
so
much
convenient.
As much as I like my smell of gasoline when I'm messing with cars and stuff, which, I mean, when it comes to the lawn equipment, it's so much easier because the maintenance is so much easier. There's no, there's nothing to worry about. They can sit there and you pop a battery in and it's ready to go again. Right. So I'm going to look at that new lawnmower, I think, Mary.
Oh, this is going to be very exciting.
Yeah. It kind of piqued my interest now. I'm like, never know. We'll have to see. Makes life easier. We might have to check it out. But
okay.
I think that's all I got for Jeff's.
I applaud you for your Jeff's Corner. Yeah, it's certainly very appropriate for this time of year.
What else you got for today, Mary?
Well, it's kind of funny. We're out there working in the garden, and I have a plant that has sprung up out of one of our containers that had a rose in it, that has a rose in it. We have to remove it. And it has a flower on it that looks like a tomato flower, and it piqued my interest. Of course, it's not a plant that you want in your yard, but I think it's a very interesting little plant. It's native to as far north as the Dakotas, down all the way into Mexico. And it is a member of the same family as a tomato or a potato in the nightshade family. And actually, you're the one that identified the plant for us while we were out there. It's called the Buffalo-Bur, Kansas thistle, the Texas thistle. It's actually a nightshade, like I said, and the botanical name is Solanum rostratum.
Okay.
Solanum rostratum. So one of the facts that I learned about it is this forms the tumbleweeds. When you always think about the West and the plant that's rolling across the deserty landscape, this is one of the plants that do form a tumbleweed, and probably that's one of the way they disperse their seeds, right? This thing looks awful. It has so many spines covering the whole plant from the base all the way out the leaves. It's amazingly bad. But the bumblebees, I've left it alone for this long so it can flower because the bumblebees are crazy about it. It's covered with bumblebees.
It is always covered back there.
Yeah. And so the interesting thing about this plant, and the reason that Charles Darwin was so interested in it, he wanted to really do a deep dive into studying this plant, but he passed away shortly after he had ordered some seeds, is because the flowers are heteranthary.
Okay.
And so what that means is they have two sets of anthers inside the flower, but they're not equal in size. And so it has to be an adaptive mechanism to help it with pollination. And to me, it sort of seems like the other burr that we talked about that has the two seeds, it has the larger and the smaller. And I'm wondering if maybe the flowers could pollinate on the larger anther first, and then the bumblebee comes along and it'll pollinate on the smaller anther after, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my theory. But I did think that was very interesting that he was...
That is interesting. Wow.
Yeah, he was really wanted to study it. But it's not a plant that you want to have growing in your garden. I'm definitely going to be extinguishing this plant. The one thing about it is that it's highly toxic. So we do know that you shouldn't eat the leaves from a potato, and you shouldn't eat the leaves from a tomato plant. And also, like if your potatoes green up, you don't want to eat those. You want to get rid of all that, right? Because it builds up a toxic substance in there. And so this plant actually accumulates even more of that toxicity. And so you definitely don't want it near any of your livestock. And
It is. It's not. Sad. I mean, from a distance, it's actually kind of cool looking. But when you get up front, it is a spiny little guy.
It is one of those things that you're not going to accept the spines.
No. Okay.
But I thought that was pretty interesting.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
I know we're going to take that out, and because it's in a like a barrel that we have. It's in there with one of the roses, right? So we'll just kind of take all that stuff out.
Yes, we're going to take all that out.
All right.
And you can wear your rose gloves so you can be protected from it.
Yeah, I got to chop them down. Put them in.
Chop it all down.
Okay.
But one of the other things I did learn about this plant that was pretty interesting is that it is actually we have a pest that comes into our garden, and we call it a pest. It's called the Colorado potato beetle. So it does attack our potatoes. But the reason for that is because its original food source was the Buffalo-Bur.
Oh. Wow.
And as the Buffalo-Bur was eradicated, the Colorado potato beetle searched for another food source, and it went to the potatoes and other members of the nightshade family. And people have struggled with this Colorado potato beetle for a long time, but that's where it originally.
Interesting.
It was the host plant.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And we know how to get rid of the potato beetle, don't we? Is it our friend? Our friends that are actually.
Oh, we forgot.
I know our friends. They're coming. They're coming to stay with us tomorrow, I believe. They should be here.
I can't believe it.
We call them the beneficial nematodes that we ordered.
Beneficial.
So that should help with all that.
It should.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We did order from a company that's been around for a long time. And this company is pretty interesting. It's Arbico. And so you can look in their catalog and identify the species of nematode that is closely associated with the problem that you're having.
That was actually pretty cool looking through that. Yeah, it lays it out pretty good. It's got like a matrix of basically all the issues you could have, all the bugs and bad stuff. And then it has it's color coded, and then you can go look and see the product, and you can get the color coded product to eradicate it. And then you can buy like a double or a triple, and I think we ended up with a double, but I think it's really just they call it a double, but I think you're basically just ordering one thing of two
I think
things.
it's one thing of each species.
Yeah. But that's supposed to be here tomorrow, Mary.
I am thrilled.
We're going to be nematoding.
Well, this is like greatest news ever. This is superb news. I think that we targeted the Japanese grubworms.
And the ants, too.
We targeted the ants. And I think we targeted fly larvae, which...
And the flies, yep.
It's not like we're on a dairy farm or another farm where you have livestock or anything, but we can get flies here.
We do.
I think that'll be good. And
we'll give that a try. Yeah, we'll have that in-house, and I'm sure we'll have it applied before the next podcast.
Absolutely.
And let everybody know how you applied it.
Yes.
All right, cool.
All right, we'll talk about it. Very good.
Very good.
All right. Well, the only other plant we love to feed the birds, and the bird feeders always have a little seed inside of them called a safflower. Very common in all the bird feed because birds enjoy it. But we actually had one that sprouted.
We did.
And grew. We didn't know what the heck it was. It was also identified by Jeff. And we looked it up. It's a very interesting plant. I was surprised at what I learned about it. The safflower, the botanical name is Carthamus tinctorius. And Carthamus or Carthamus maybe, originates from the Greek language. It does have a thistle-like appearance.
It does.
But it's actually a member of the family Asteraceae, which, as you can probably guess, has asters, daisies.
Oh, of course, I guessed that.
And those type of plants. And it could have yellow, orange, or red flowers. And it's an interesting plant because it responds to the day length. So as your day length increases and the heat and the soil and everything increases, that promotes it to bloom. And it grows. The safflower has been such an important plant for people. I mean,
isn't there like safflower oil?
Safflower oil.
I've heard of that one. Okay.
Is available everywhere. Yes. So this plant can, in prime growing efforts, can reach 6 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
I know. And it can also get, I don't know how wide because it just continues to branch as it keeps going. But the interesting thing that I was shocked about is the it has a taproot, which is good because it will help open up the soil, right? But the taproot in optimal growing conditions can get as long as 6 feet.
Wow.
That's crazy. I'm sure we don't have those growing.
No, that thing's pretty big back there, though. Mm-hmm. It's gotten big.
It has gotten pretty big. And it does have yellow-orange flowers, which are beautiful.
It does.
Yeah. They are quite gorgeous. And that's what made us, attracted us to it. But as Jeff was reaching in to pull out some of the roses, he was going, this plant is poking me.
It is. It's a sticky one, too.
It is. The leaves are very, they're not shaped like holly, but they do have that outward spininess to them that will get you.
It is definitely very spiny. You got a lot of spiny plants out there.
A lot of spine. Well, I mean, we are in Texas.
I know.
We're a spiny place.
Okay.
And you're talking about getting more succulents.
That's true.
So I was so interested to learn this. It is one of the oldest crops that mankind has farmed.
Wow. Okay.
It in archaeology, they've traced it back to Mesopotamia as far as 2500 BC in some of the archaeological records. Yeah. And another interesting fact is this plant is used for making dyes for clothing as well. And so they tested the Egyptian textiles and found that safflower was used in the linen that they wore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was in the tomb of Tutankhamun.
Whoa.
That's pretty crazy.
Is that King Tut?
Yes. I believe that's King Tut.
I think it is King Tut. Okay.
And so safflower is used to have the yellow coloring in some of our food sources. And when down here, when we think of arroz con pollo, it's chicken with a yellow spicy rice. And saffron is
it is. That's
used.
True. Okay, now, yep, you're right. There is safflower rice.
Yes. It's used in place of, safflower is different from saffron. Saffron is from a crocus that you harvest the little, the pollen. It is so expensive. So safflower creates the same color, and they use that as a less expensive
I like it.
coloring.
Okay.
But there is traditional saffron varieties. And there's one in New Mexico called the Corrales azafran. And it is still used today in making the arroz con pollo.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I know.
Hey, we got one right in the backyard.
We have it in the backyard.
Now, here's the question, Mary. I know you got more stuff, but...
Yes.
All right, I'm going to let you finish. I'll let you finish. Go ahead. No, I'm going to let you finish.
Go ahead. I think there was one other... that taproot.
That's pretty amazing.
Amazing.
All right.
Yes.
Now finish up on it.
I'm trying to get there.
Come on, Mary.
I'm looking for it.
Come on, Mary.
Well, I guess that I think I have covered most everything I learned about it. And I think that is pretty interesting that this one plant has wide and varied uses. And whenever I think about saffron oil, I never would have thought of this plant.
No.
I don't know why.
That's pretty cool.
I guess I thought of it more like a grain. But, yeah.
So here's my question. Is it staying or going?
Oh, it's going. It's going. Yeah.
It is kind of weedy, isn't it?
Yes. And also it's going to be dispersed very widely by the birds. And
That's true.
I don't want it to get started, although it is lovely.
It is, but it's already gotten pretty big. Yeah. All right. I just have to check with you. See what she's doing.
You can never tell what interesting things you're going to find in your garden.
I know. Well, a lot of it, we have bird seed and we have a lot of birds. So I think a lot of stuff just gets dropped and moved from either our garden or another garden and put in there. So
yes,
it is. It's always an adventure.
This is something that's pretty exciting that you brought home a sock like structure or a bag. And it's filled with
the seed sock,
little bird seed. And we have had
they like that one.
Birds on there.
They like that one.
They love it.
We've put stuff out that didn't go over well, but this one's a good one.
That's a great one.
Yeah, I think they like that one.
The goldfinches have just been swarming it, which is exciting.
That's on the keep list.
That's on the keep list,
so
definitely.
We'll redo that when it's done, but they do like that one.
Now, this year, I made the choice not to put out the hummingbird feeders this year, partly because last year the bees kept getting trapped in the hummingbird feeders, and I didn't want to impact the bees. And we have not had the same amount of hummingbirds this year.
No, but they're still around. They're coming in onto the natural flowers and stuff. And
we do have a lot of those. We've tried to.
I think that was a good choice this year. We'll focus on the seed this year and see how that works.
See how that works.
Yeah,
I like it.
Got anything else?
I think I've exhausted my repertoire for this week.
Very good. It was a nice conversational podcast this week with you.
Are you looking forward to getting back out there in the garden?
In a couple days, I'm a little sore. I'm not going to lie to you. We were pretty intense there for several days in a row. But we'll get back out there and it's just never ending. Literally never ending.
It's never ending. And that makes it fun.
Okay.
We are coming up this next week. I am replacing the pansy flower bed that we have on our, let me think, it's the southwestern facing side. And I think I was thinking about putting in some moss rose, which is a succulent type of plant. But I happen to notice that the vinca is on sale at one of our local garden centers. So those pansies have just been
they've been great.
Dynamite.
They've lasted a long time, but it's good.
It's too hot. Yeah. They're going over.
Yeah.
And so we'll have to see whether we're going to choose moss rose, which is very colorful, or vinca. And we'll have to report back next time we meet.
Sounds good. All right. As always, we appreciate you guys hanging with us here at the podcast. We're enjoying ourselves. We hope you guys are having fun here at Mary Bird's Backyard Garden. And until next time,
happy gardening, everyone.
Happy gardening. And hey, be careful out there. If you're in Texas, there's a lot of heat out there. So stay safe out there and make sure you hydrate and enjoy yourself out there. See you next time.